Dear Hollywood, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 franchises that Hollywood needs to give another chance. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at franchises from any type of media, whether that's movies, TV series, comics, books, whatever, that have been previously adapted to the big screen, but that we feel deserve to be given a new life for modern audiences. A franchise is still eligible for this list if there's been talk of a revival, but if those projects are in the advanced stages of production, they are excluded.
Come! Taste the blood of your dragon! Let's finish this!
Number 10. The Gremlins franchise.
Cute.
Cute, fluffy pets that turn into terrifying creatures helped make Gremlins an 80s comedy horror classic, inspiring the minds behind the film to produce associated video games and a sequel. But despite the fact that there's been talk of a third film for years, we've seen no official Gremlins-related content since the early 2000s. What gives?
Better stop!
A modern take on Gremlins with a good mix of practical and contemporary visual effects could reintroduce these iconic creatures to a new generation. Plus, can you imagine the merchandising possibilities? But if they do bring Gremlins back, let's hope they actually follow the rules this time.
This is G2, people. We're writing Gremlins 2. It should be a party.
Number 9. The Addams Family franchise.
I'm a homicidal maniac. They look just like everyone else.
A common trend in Hollywood these days is adapting beloved TV shows into irreverent, self-referential comedies. And the Addams Family is more than ready for this treatment.
He has my father's eyes.
Gomez, take those out of his mouth.
Starting out as a series of New Yorker cartoons in 1938, Charles Addams' Addams Family then made the jump to TV in the 60s and film in the 90s, with the macabre atmosphere and bizarre humor carrying over to each iteration. With its timelessly weird characters, its enduring theme of family, and its classic theme song, the Addams Family would be a reboot Hollywood wouldn't regret. We'll start practicing our snaps. Number 8. The NeverEnding Story franchise. What began as a German fantasy story in 1979 turned into a franchise consisting of a film trilogy, TV shows, computer games, and more.
Run, Trey, run!
But we gotta say, this series would benefit greatly from a modern update. The original 1984 film is a magical world filled with fantastical imagery and interesting creatures, all of which could be recreated and modernized using current visual effects.
But it's only a story.
The recent surge of young adult novels being made into films also makes the NeverEnding Story a prime franchise to reboot. We'd all love another chance to hop on Falkor the Luck Dragon and be transported back to Fantasia.
What would you like to wish for next?
Number 7. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen franchise.
Would you like to learn how to shoot?
I can't already.
One of the biggest disappointments about 2003's The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen film, besides the fact that the train wreck was one of Sean Connery's last on-screen performances before he retired, was how it failed to live up to Alan Moore's popular comic book. To say this franchise could benefit from a reboot is an understatement, because, in today's comic book movie landscape, filmmakers now have a blueprint for what works and what doesn't when assembling a large team of heroes on screen. Plus, audiences would likely welcome these famous literary characters as protagonists in place of the superheroes we're used to.
They're indestructible!
No, just armor-plated.
Number 6. The Night of the Living Dead franchise.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
The 1968 George A. Romero classic basically defined the modern zombie, resulting in a total of 7 movies and even more remakes. The original itself got the remake treatment in 1990, and it was divisive to say the least.
It's weird, huh?
Some liked the similarities between the two versions, while others found the remake completely unnecessary because of them. Regardless, the popularity and legacy of the franchise has only been strengthened in the early 21st century thanks to the new zombie craze. It's high time we spend at least one more night with the living dead. especially considering how much source material they'd have to choose from.
There is a dead guy walking around. Now let's go.
Number 5. The Super Mario Bros. Franchise.
Strap your belt on, kid. We're going in.
As long as they've been making video game movies, they've been making bad video game movies. 1993's Super Mario Bros. Didn't help the genre. Based on a character that debuted in 1981's Donkey Kong and who's since jumped his way to TV, comics, and more, Super Mario Bros. The movie has become a cult classic. But mostly because it's that bad.
Oh, we gotta deal with aliens too? Luigi, we're the aliens!
However, with a UK Blu-ray re-release, fan-made sequel comics, and the continued popularity of the Nintendo franchise, this film seems ripe for a modern reboot. Who better to buck the trend of bad video game adaptations than the most iconic video game character ever? Number 4. The Spawn franchise.
I love the smell of burning asphalt in the morning!
Comic book movies aren't going anywhere, and thankfully they're only getting better. So it makes sense that fans want to see forgotten characters return to the big screen. Characters like Spawn, the former Black Ops operative turned Hellspawn, who wages war against heaven and hell. Literally.
You sent me to hell, Jason. I'm here to return the favor.
Once the subject of a poorly reviewed film and a well-reviewed animated series, as well as video games galore, this anti-hero is just the kind of character that deserves a second chance. Deadpool and Logan proved that audiences are ready for edgier R-rated comic book fare, and that's something Spawn would only benefit from. His distinct visual style deserves the modern-day visual effects treatment.
Come on down to my world!
Number 3. The Zorro franchise.
Be careful, señorita. There are dangerous men about.
Beginning his life as a character in a story by Johnston McCulley, Zorro has swashbuckled his way from books and comics to television, stage plays, and movies for the better part of a century. The defender of the common people and champion against tyranny, Zorro was fodder for Hollywood as early as 1920, appearing on the big screen regularly for decades. In terms of modern adaptations, 1998's The Mask of Zorro was his most recent success, with its 2005 sequel failing to live up to the legendary name. However, it's been long enough that we're ready to welcome the Masked Avenger back, perhaps with a more gritty and realistic reboot.
Finally, we agree on something.
Number 2. The Avatar: The Last Airbender franchise.
All airbenders should be dead. Kill them!
Throughout its 3-season run, this beloved animated series received universal praise, winning a Primetime Emmy Award and making room for the sequel series The Legend of Korra. That's why hype was high ahead of M. Night Shyamalan's live-action adaptation in 2010. Then people saw it.
Hey, stop! Stop!
By unsuccessfully trying to condense the show's 20-episode first season into one film, and by choosing to whitewash the casting, this film failed on many levels, ultimately winning the Worst Picture Razzie. Fans of this Nickelodeon franchise are still pleading for a proper film adaptation, and rightly so. And if the next one pronounces the main characters' names correctly, it'll be halfway there.
Is it okay if you tell me your name?
The monks named me Ang.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Where did you get this gun?
My mom gave it to me.
Oh, can I borrow it for a little while?
Yeah, but tell me, son, what's the charge? Possession of a concealed weapon and disturbing the peace. Disturbing the peace? I got thrown out of a window!
You gonna kill me now, Snake?
I'm too tired. Maybe later.
Number 1. The Blade franchise. After first appearing on comic book pages in 1973, the ruthless vampire hunter known as Blade slashed his way onto the big screen in 1998. Despite that film's lukewarm critical response, it proved popular with fans and spawned 2 sequels. Since then, Blade has remained relevant in pop culture thanks to its comic book run, video game appearances, and TV adaptation. But nothing on the big screen since Trinity in 2004. Now that the film rights to Blade have reverted back to Marvel Studios, the character could make a great addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And in a post-Twilight world, we could use all the vampire slaying we can get.
Worse things out tonight than vampires.
Like what?
Like me.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.